evening, everyone, and welcome to the Inspire You Network. I'm Candace Houston, and I have with me my co-host, Mr. Al Wheaton, as well as City of Prichard Mayoral Candidate Lorenzo Martin. Hey, gentlemen.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Doing good. Looking forward to this.
Good. Absolutely. Good to see everybody. So before we get started, I do want to express that the Inspire You Network platform is available to all political candidates. So with that being said, we've got quite a bit of information to go over tonight, so I'm just going to jump right in. Councilman Martin, you have been a councilman for the City of Prichard for 8 years. With all of the chaos that's going on around us right now, why at this moment are you seeking the mayoral seat?
Well, with the number of years that I've served as council and the actual limits of trying to make a greater difference and in discussion of knowing how much hard work that would it take to change the city as we know it, change the perception, change the direction, no better time than now to be a candidate for mayor of the City of Prichard.
Councilman Martin, city finances, they've always been a hot topic for Prichard City residents over the years. What steps will you implement to safeguard the city's finance and improve the city financially? Example, increasing the bond rating, increasing the credit worthiness of the City of Prichard.
The main thing we have to do, of course, we're still in a crisis financially. I always say we can use more money, but we don't have a money problem. We have more of a spending problem. Most of the time between grants and funding, you always have to have a match. So which means that we have to get our financial house in order first for us to be competitive in all those areas in which you just made mention of. So right now, I think the most immediate need is that we're going to have to provide software that's going to safeguard the city finances. Currently, we do not have a regulations of funds coming in and nor funds going out. That has to be the first initial thing of a finance director that would oversee that software that will calculate for every dollar that comes in and of course for every approved dollar that goes out.
Okay. So since we're on the subject of finances, let's talk about some of the city departments. So what will your focus be to improve conditions and pay for your first responders, your public works, and your other city employees?
Most of the time, your trueness and your commitment to the direction you want to take the city is based upon the budget. You cannot fluff the budget in so many different areas where you cannot identify those areas of which you're saying that you want to grow in. I think the top tier of the budget has to be your police, your fire, and your public works, and all the city employees. Once in doing so, then everything else become everything is priority, but that is a greater priority that you must make sure you take care of those financial needs. The police department should not be competing with park and recreation, should not be competing with small events and activities. It should be a department that's well financially stable, so we continue the growth that's necessary and needed. As far as pay raise is concerned, it's a must. You cannot ask people to sacrifice themselves. A retirement plan is another area in which we have to have not just consideration, but it has to be done in some form or fashion, because you can't ask people to give 20, 30, and 40 years of their lives and have nothing to show for it at the end of it. For Prichard to receive the necessary work and effort that we so desire, we're going to have to pay conducive to all our neighboring cities. I forbid that anyone else attempt to do what I think we should do, and that we should be the highest paid police department in the year 2024.
Okay. Has there ever been a retirement plan in place for the City of Prichard workers?
It has been before, but of course that was lost during the time of bankruptcy. What happened was we had a settlement to wherein those current retirees had a basic plan for themselves. And what happened, there was a 401 established. And of course, it's hard to maintain a 401 and then also don't have the necessary pay you need for your department or for your individual officers. So the more favorable thing to do is be able to have a solid retirement plan that they can be secured in.
Understood.
We're talking with Councilman Lorenzo Martin of the City of Prichard. He's running for mayor. He's going to be in the runoff coming up soon. Councilman Martin, you just talked about transparency. You just talked about pay increases. You talked about budget. All of those things make up the business of a city. With making all this more transparent for the residents of Prichard, in addition, economic development. You talked about giving people raises. The money has to come from somewhere. How would you increase the city's exposure to attracting more businesses that would truly make an impact on Prichard residents?
Well, right now, I think the first thing has to be done in the first 30 days is identifying where you are. Before we begin to extend our reach, we have to identify and secure, which I know without a doubt, being 8 years as a council person, being that council is responsible for all the finances, council is responsible for the budget, council is responsible for all buildings and ground. So surely I am well abreast of where we are. And I think within the first 30 to 60 days, we can identify exactly some base establishment of the city. And those things that I spoke of has to be one of those things. One of the greatest property owners in the city of Prichard, guess who? It's the City of Prichard. And we have some ideal properties located right on 65, 45, 158. A lot of those properties have already been seeked out for businesses. I think in order to ask people to come, you must develop that which you already have. One of those businesses is a new car lot, and I believe the ideal location is property that the city owns. We do not have a vibrant Beltline area in the City of Prichard. We have a growing I-65, and we have a potential growth in Highway 45. I serve on the MPO board that I've always advocated for the last 8 years for an expansion of Highway 45. I believe that if you expand Highway 45, it would double our revenue for the City of Prichard. You don't wait until they come, you build it, and then they come. The federal highway is responsible of 80% federal and 20% state, which means that it is not even the City of Prichard responsibility for that expansion. It is the federal government 80% responsibility. It's the state of Alabama 20%. It is US Highway 45, which sometimes is considered St. Stephen's Road. It doesn't get its due by calling it that. It's the same AirDOT that regulates 65 that regulates Highway 45. And that development could happen. It's just a matter of development and engineering from the side of the City of Prichard.
Okay. So with that being said, so we're it's kind of in that same lane. We're talking about the environmental issues and the infrastructure and the blighted areas there. What is your plan to improve the city parks and to ensure safety and wellness for all of the communities?
Well, one of the greatest areas in which funding is provided to municipality is park and recreation. It's with your youth and with your elderly. But once again, if you don't have the necessary matching funds, then those grant opportunities we cannot seek out, because typically it's a 20% match, depending upon what the cost of the actual grant. But when you don't have those matching funds, then you cannot benefit from being able to assess those grants. But in the meantime, I think we can have a great improvement of some continuous maintenance. One of the ideas that I have is that I think Blunt and Viger should be a relationship until where our youth programs should extend up into the high school level. It's a good and a bad thing of only having 2 high schools. Is one great thing because we only have 2 to worry about, but we have 2 wonderful schools that we can actually filter our youth. That's not something I thought of. That's one of our neighboring cities out there, and I just want to adopt that for the City of Prichard. For as walking trails, right now we have about 5 or 6 potential walking trails that we can continue to develop and to nourish healthy living throughout the City of Prichard. And our youth, of course, play a great part in being able to show us that we can take advantage of what we currently have.
Councilman Martin, you talked about a lot of infrastructure ideas right there with walking trails and things that benefit the community. Mobile has the penny tax that has allowed them to address a lot of infrastructure issues in their city over the years. I'm not saying you're proposing an additional tax on the residents, but specifically, how is it possible to make infrastructure changes a top priority and implement changes to improve streets, right-of-ways, drainage without burdening the city financially?
Well, once again, on your financial level, let me tell you how it works with municipalities. We have a big brother, big sisters, which is the county, which is the state. And what happens is with proper planning and also approval by council, we're able to take the bidding costs that the county may have bidded on asphalt, street equipment. We can also do the same thing with the state. So which means that we're able to purchase at the same rate that the state may be purchasing of their equipment and asphalt. Same thing with Mobile County, which means that the cost is much affordable versus Prichard, who may not be able to do but 5 to 6 roads per year. You take the county, they may be doing 40 or 50 a year. You take the state, they may be doing much more than that. That's one of the key factors in which we can use and leverage our big brothers and big sisters, which is the state of Alabama and Mobile County, and to assist us with our infrastructure. I think another thing too, if you maintain your roads, one thing we should do, we should never have a pothole, because a pothole is an indication that there is some trouble brewing as it relates to your roadway. We spend more money repairing people's cars that we can use those money to repair those potholes, and also real soon pave the whole entire street. So really, a lot of that is just efficiency and proper bidding that will get the infrastructure done.
Okay. Now I think that kind of leads into your the question you had about the census. Let's talk about that.
As far as the importance of the census and voting is coming up, and how important is it for voters or citizens, period, to turn in their census information?
It is vital. It is vital. Once again, it may sound strange, but a city is not responsible within itself to take care of itself. There are so many other entities that feed into a municipal and a citizen's responsibility of their quality of life. And one of those things the federal government uses is the census, which when we are in the room behind the closed doors, arguing and debating about what funds we need for the city of Prichard, a lot of that is leveraged upon the number of residents that's counted for in the city of Prichard. It's not just money for its infrastructure and roads and bridges and education, but it's also for your health care. A lot of times you have people in the type of city that we have, that low and moderate income level, that definitely need their Medicaid expansion. And one trip to the doctor or one trip to the hospital could almost cause you to go bankrupt. So there are so many benefits from being counted. We support each other. We always say a slogan many use, that we can do more together. In this case, it is so true, because if we can count 100% of the city of Prichard, we would definitely get 100% of our due funds that due to us.
I totally agree with that. We did a show on the census not too long ago, and I think it's just a matter of educating people on how important that census is, because when we come to times like with COVID-19 and we have these disasters, those are the times that we need those resources. But if they don't know what we need or how many there are, it's kind of hard to determine that. So I think it's great that that's one of your focuses. So let me ask this question, because this is something that I noticed in the primary, the first election. There are over 20,000 citizens in the city of Prichard. August 25th brought out less than 4,000 voters. Does that concern you? What are your concerns there? And what do you want to say to the citizens to increase those numbers and talk to them about how important it is to turn out to vote?
Well, I know for a fact, me being a part of the Democratic Executive Committee, that is a problem all over the country. Mm-hmm. But Prichard has an opportunity to make an example that you can get the people to come out and vote if you give them something to vote for. I think this election, the runoff, is potentially a way of letting the world know that the city of Prichard is serious about its government and about its business and its quality of life. Most importantly, you have to have an aggressive effort to reach the people. And I don't think we've done that. I think we've allowed people to take their situations. If you have an overgrown lot next to your house, that can't deter you from voting. If you have a dilapidated home that needs to be torn down, that cannot discourage you from voting. I know that it does, but we have to do a much better job in government, because all politics start local. If we do not take care of the people locally, we can't expect for them to come out on a state election. We can't expect them to come out on a presidential election. So I think if we get more aggressive in taking care of the needs of the people have a better understanding of what government is and the benefits that government brings to all of us if it's done properly.
Okay. Well, we've talked about, your ideas, your vision, your goals, as far as the voting process and, the mayoral seat. Let's talk about community. You have an initiative that you are doing for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Talk to us about that.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. I've always contributed and been a part of this. Of course, like most families, we've always had individuals that have been impacted by breast cancer and different other forms of cancer. My wife also is a cancer survivor. My grandmother did not survive from her breast cancer spout that she had during her lifetime. So this is something close to my heart and dear to my heart. And I asked the city of Prichard to join in with me, so it wouldn't be me as a council person, wouldn't be me as Lorenzo Martin. It would be the whole entire city of Prichard getting behind breast cancer awareness for the month of October. The council have agreed to that, and we're putting together some things right now so we can be a challenging team versus the other teams that are located throughout Mobile County. But Prichard is going to stand up and be the strongest representative for this October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I love that. Kudos to you for that.
All right, Candace, do you have anything else for
No,
Councilman Martin?
I think that's it. Councilman, is there anything else that you want to share before we go?
What I want to encourage the citizens and all the listeners, if you know anyone that lives in the city of Prichard, to ask them to get involved in the local government. I promise you it will be a great change in the city of Prichard. We believe in a better day, a new day for the city of Prichard. And if you are involved with what's going on now, you will be a part of history. So I ask all the citizens of the city of Prichard to join in. We have a great city. And one thing about real estate, they say location, location, location. Prichard is perfectly located in Mobile County. We're the second largest city in Mobile County. We're going to begin to act like it. We're going to begin to live like it. And we're going to begin to enjoy the fruits of our labor. And I ask you to come out October the 6th and vote for Lorenzo Martin.
Okay.
All right, Councilperson Martin, we appreciate you joining us to delve into these serious issues that are concerning and affecting the cities of Prichard. Now, if you are watching this and you are a candidate for office in an upcoming election and would like to appear on the Inspire You Network, please reach us at 251-288-0781 or send an email to info@inspireu.org. That's info@nspireu.org. And remember, get out and vote. It is so important that each of us do it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Inspire You Network. Continue to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.